Let's be honest. Are you tired of waking up and already feeling like you're behind? Maybe you're scrolling through your phone in London, or New York, or Sydney, and your day hasn't even started, but you're already exhausted.
Yeah, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, of looking at that massive to-do list and just wanting to crawl right back into bed, it's a real struggle. But what if I told you the solution isn't about finding more willpower or downloading another complicated productivity app? What if it's just science?
And I mean it. You are not lazy. Your brain is actually doing exactly what it was designed to do, is trying to protect you from things it sees as a threat. The only problem is, right now, its wires are a little crossed. So today, we're going to show you how to use some simple 2-minute science to rewire that response and finally get your energy back.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To fix this whole thing, we first have to understand what is actually going on inside our heads when we look at a big task and just freeze.
You know, in our modern hustle culture, we're taught that bigger is always better. We try to change our entire lives overnight. But here's the scientific reality. When you stare down a huge project, your brain's ancient fear center, the amygdala, it literally can't tell the difference between that project and, say, a saber-toothed tiger. It floods your system with stress, creating this heavy, paralyzing feeling. That feeling has a name. It's called limbic friction.
And this is how we get around that threat response. Think of your brain having two modes. You've got the stressed brain, that's your prefrontal cortex, which handles new, complex stuff and gets overwhelmed really easily. But then you've got the habit brain, your basal ganglia, which handles all the automatic things, like brushing your teeth, without you even thinking about it. So the fix? You make the task so tiny, less than 2 minutes, that it flies completely under the too hard radar. You're basically tricking your brain, shifting the job from the part that panics to the part that just does. So if the problem is that feeling of limbic friction, the solution is this beautifully simple principle. Seriously, this is the key that will unlock momentum anytime you feel completely and totally stuck.
Have you ever noticed how a cliffhanger at the end of a TV show makes you desperate to watch the next episode? Well, that's this right here. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain just hates unfinished business. So by committing to just 120 seconds of work, you create what's called an open loop. You've cracked the door open, and your brain's natural desire for closure is going to pull you the rest of the way through. It turns out just starting really is more than half the battle.
And check this out. This isn't just some neat psychological quirk. The data completely backs it up. Research shows that a staggering 90% of people who commit to starting a task for just 2 minutes will actually keep going. 2 minutes. That's it. It's the ignition sequence for your entire productivity engine. But this is where the real power is. This isn't just about checking things off a to-do list. When you open your laptop for 2 minutes, or you put on your running shoes for 2 minutes, you're not just working, you are casting a vote for a new identity. You are literally becoming the kind of person who shows up.
All right, let's apply this 2-minute rule to the most important part of your day, the morning. Winning your morning isn't about hustle and grind. It's about using tiny, simple habits to reset your actual biology.
I know what most of us do. We stumble out of bed and make a beeline for the coffee pot. But that's a huge mistake. After 8 hours of just breathing, you wake up dehydrated, and your brain is mostly water. Even a tiny drop in hydration absolutely tanks your focus and cranks up your anxiety. So the most important thing to remember is this: coffee is not your first move.
So here's the super simple 3-step protocol. Number 1, hydrate first. Get some water in you to reset your brain function. Number 2, get some sunlight. This triggers a healthy cortisol pulse to wake you up, and this part is crucial. It sets a 16-hour timer for your sleep hormone melatonin. And number 3, delay that coffee. Waiting just a bit lets your body naturally clear out that sleepiness molecule adenosine, so you can avoid that dreaded 3 p.m. crash.
Okay, you've won the morning. Nicely done. Now let's talk about how to navigate the rest of your day with tiny little habits that have a massive impact. From beating that post-lunch slump to setting up your pre-sleep routine.
So many of us, we eat lunch and then we sit right back down at our desks. And just look at the consequences. You get a huge blood sugar spike, brain fog sets in, and then comes the energy crash. But the alternative? A simple 2 to 10 minute walk. This tiny move activates something called GLUT4, which is basically a transporter that pulls sugar out of your bloodstream and into your muscles for energy, preventing that whole spike and crash. It is a tiny metabolic cheat code.
Now what happens when that hustle turns into real anxiety? Well, your thinking brain, that prefrontal cortex we talked about earlier, it kind of goes offline. To bring it back, you can use this simple sensory grounding technique. Just stop, and name these things, either out loud or just in your head. By deliberately focusing on your senses, you force your thinking brain to re-engage. That simple act is what shuts down your brain's alarm system. And clinical data shows this can literally halve your impairment levels during stressful times.
And now, for that tip I promised that could change your sleep forever, you need to create a digital sunset. Put your phone away. That blue light is actively suppressing your sleep hormone. And then add a 2-minute room reset. You see, a cluttered space sends all these subtle stress signals to your brain. A clear space, on the other hand, signals safety and rest.
So we have all of these tiny, powerful habits. We know what to do, but how do we actually make them stick? How do we make them automatic? Well, the final piece of this puzzle isn't about repetition. It's about emotion.
This is the secret sauce. Right after you finish your 2-minute habit, doesn't matter if it's drinking that glass of water or tidying your room, you must celebrate. A Stanford researcher, BJ Fogg, calls this shine. It can be a tiny mental fist pump, a quiet little yes, or even just a smile. That small act of acknowledging your win is what literally wires the habit into your brain.
Seriously, this changes everything we've been told about building habits. We all think repetition is king, right? But the neuroscience is crystal clear. Positive emotions are the glue. When you feel good after doing something, your brain basically says, hey, I like that, let's do it again tomorrow. Celebration is not some silly add-on, it is the mechanism.
And please, do not underestimate the power of these tiny, celebrated wins. The math behind these small gains is just astounding. If you get just 1% better each day, one 2-minute habit at a time, you will be 37 times better by the end of the year. It's the ultimate form of compound interest for your life.
So, let's make this real, right now. Forget trying to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. The journey to reclaiming your energy, your focus, your life, it starts with a single 2-minute step. So pick one thing, just one. What's your tiny win gonna be today?